Welcome to Not Your Average Cinema. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're talking about our top 10 anticipated movies of 2025. And yeah, this is hoping that all these movies come out
Yes.
because I feel like sometimes I anticipate some and then it gets pushed back, and all of a sudden it gets pushed back again, and then it turns into Craven of 2024.
But then it ends up being on your favorite movies of that year. Are we correct there with Craven?
Well, I will say, and I don't know if this movie that I didn't include is going to end up on your list, but it reminds me of the path that Craven took, and that's why I am not trying to get overly excited about that one. But we will get to that maybe when we get to it.
Yes. So yeah, hoping all of these come out. Some of them have release dates. Some of them are in the next couple months. But others are November, December, or not really a set date. Some don't even have posters. So there's some big question marks there. One that I thought would be on my list was A Quiet Place 3, but that kind of had its 2025 date pulled back. So I assume they have not finished it or really started working on that. So that's probably going to be 2026, but that was one I initially marked down because it's still listed somewhere. So if that sneaks in there and somehow is in 2025, that's
There's
on
going
my
to be a Quiet Place 3.
yes, third one for the original family.
Okay.
So,
I was not aware of that.
but I think that'll be a few years off still, sadly.
Okay. But yeah, let us know in the comments below what you are looking forward to in 2025, or if you've already seen any good movies in 2025, so that we know we got to go see them. My number 10, I'm assuming I'm going first here.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I could see this one going either way. I think this one is 100% because of a movie I saw by this director, and I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really good. I, for some reason, I think a lot of these movies that I just end up really, really enjoying are movies that I was never really looking forward to, had nothing going into it. So then when it ends up being a good movie, it maybe ticks it up a few more notches just because I wasn't anticipating. So then once you start anticipating, so everything on this list is going to have a higher standard, unfortunately, for it. But this one is Frankenstein.
Yes, and that is one that did not have a poster available that I found, but I mean, really just make this the poster, I think.
Oh boy, could be scary. But yeah, I'm hopeful because this is, I think, one of those kind of later releases. I'm
Yeah.
guessing around Halloween time. So I'm hopeful in this one. I don't know. This could sometimes it seems like that can go either way if it starts being kind of that horror. But I really liked what they did, what he did with Pinocchio, and I feel like if it can kind of capture the same sort of vibes, I felt like that one had, I don't know, just a good amount of had like humor in it and
Yeah.
kind of maybe some dark spots and some brighter spots. I think it just mixed that together really well. And I guess I'm going totally based on that. I know he's done other movies as well. Pepper probably knows him. I'm terrible with all that.
Done. He's surprisingly, I think he did The Shape of Water, that big Oscar winner. So he does that. He does more family movie Pinocchio. I think he did that The Strain, which is like a horror vampire television series a few years back, or at least that's based on something of his. So he does a lot of things, but he can do horror. I think he has done some horror movies. That Cabinet of Curiosities little series on Netflix I've been interested in, have not checked that out, but I believe that is him as well. So, yeah, this one, I think the director makes it here. Frankenstein's an existing thing. Could go either way, but I'm with you here. I hope this one's going to be something special.
Right. And I think there's another one. Isn't there another one coming out that's also like Frankenstein related? Or Bride of
It
Frank,
might be.
but totally different. So I think that I thought there was another one. I could be remembering wrong, but
That does seem to
yes.
happen pretty often. Like there'll just be like two very similar things released about the same time, completely different crews.
Mhm.
Uh,
That's Guillermo del Toro. Also,
yes,
I don't think I
yes,
ever said his name.
yes. Give
It's
him his
not Frank. It's
flowers.
not actually Frankenstein.
Frank Stein.
Frank Stein.
My 10 is a lot of these are franchise entries. I think that just helps with hyping up these movies to get excited for them because a lot of the other ones I don't know anything about. And they just show up and then they end up being my favorites. And all of my franchise movies disappoint. But this isn't really a franchise I love. It is a zombie franchise. This is 28 years later. And I like zombies. I love The Walking Dead, maybe my favorite show of all time. And there's a lot of really good zombie movies, but there is a lot of trash out there as well. And 28 franchise is one of the few mainstream, great quality, famous zombie franchises. And I think that's what gets me excited about it, even though I'm not a huge fan of the first two. We might have to cover them when this movie comes out and maybe do a ranking or something like that. But never been a huge fan of them, but just the fact that they're revisiting the franchise, they are good quality movies, and to get a cast, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's got to get his big role. This has got to be his big movie that I absolutely love. He's was great in Bullet Train, and I feel like everything else is just not quite met that level for me. So I'm hoping this is the one. And I think is that Voldemort, Ralph Fiennes? I know there's two of them. Is that the one from
Yeah, I think maybe.
Menu and Voldemort? He's pretty good too, if it is that one. So I'm excited for this one. Excited to see how they bring the original guy, Cillian Murphy, how they bring him and factor him into this. Heard he's going to be in it, so got the original director or whatever producer back as well, Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. I think he did Civil War last year, so um, that could take with that what you will. If you like Civil War, I like the end of Civil War. I thought it was very intense. So if he can give that feeling for the entirety of this movie, because I think this should be intense throughout, I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my number nine is one that I think it's just so most of these I think are either going to be because of, like you said, a franchise or just the story. Um, yeah, I this one just sounded like it could be interesting, but it could just be a huge flop, and that is The Gorge. And I believe we've got two kind of snipers on each side of this gorge, and I don't know that it's really revealed or said what they are exactly trying to do, if they're trying to keep something in, I assume. But what that is, I'm not really sure. And I think that's the part where, you can create some suspense and stuff around it. But once we eventually get that reveal, I think that's going to be the difficult part. Whether or not that would live up to, if it is really well built up, you get to that point and then it's kind of maybe a disappointment. Makes me think of the potential of like what's his name? The Village.
Oh,
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Like
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan films sometimes where and then the
Yeah.
reveal or whatever that almost or all of his have might just not live up to it. That's kind of what I'm worried about with this one. That's my only worry. But otherwise, it sounds like an exciting potential for a movie. And who knows, maybe it'll become a franchise of movies. This will just be the beginning of something. And it'll be Quiet Place creatures coming out of there.
Eventually, we get The Gorge versus The Grudge in a crossover cinematic event. But yeah, that one
Exactly.
did. Once I saw this and got it explained, and I was like, that seems pretty cool, and a couple good actors there, and
Yeah, that's
but
true.
yeah,
Good
as
acting.
the poster is showing, kind of like this claw coming out. I don't know. I think this is somewhat official, and I'm like, it does even that. The claw coming out does remove some of the kind of what is down there. So I think if it's really going to come down to if they deliver that like in a satisfying way, which is so hard to do.
It really is. It really is, and that when the whole movie is about just that, that is very difficult to live up to,
Yes.
unfortunately.
And then, oh boy, my next one has a lot to live up to, but also a very low bar to hop over based on what movies in this franchise you're comparing it to. And that is a dinosaur franchise. This is Jurassic World Rebirth. This should be higher. This should be top five, but and it would have been if they never said anything about what this movie's going to be about. Because ever since the second movie, Lost World Jurassic Park. the very tacked on third act, dinosaur gets out, goes down the streets and is in the mainland. That's all I've wanted. I want dinosaurs on the mainland. And they bring Jurassic World and pretty much tease it in every movie, and don't fully deliver what I want. Just among humans. And then they were bringing back one of the original producers, guys, writers from the first two films. And I'm like, okay, getting rid of this clone stuff, getting rid of this stupid um, crops and locusts. Let's put that aside and let's just get back to basics, explore this world with someone who's made the two best, worked on the two best Jurassic films. So I was really excited. And then they announced, okay, dinosaurs have kind of receded back to these areas on the Earth. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be secluded again, and we're just going to be pretty much in a park. That's what I hear. And then it's like, oh, and they think maybe this super wonderful drug can be made from the DNA of these dinos. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just going to be a big corporation with an evil Tim Cook leader here, and trying to make money, and I'm like, it's Locust all over again. But maybe not. Maybe it's still going to be great. I still have fun with dinos whenever they show up, and the cast is, I mean, Scarlett Johansson and the guy who was going to be Blade, but who knows if that's ever going to happen. They're all right. They're not like my favorite actors, but they're good enough, and it should look great. Should have some good action. So I'm still excited for it, but I could be so much more if the concept was just what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, the concept would help, and yeah, I think that last one, where they just brought everyone back, and that was like the ultimate disappointment for me. And I think that's hurt it a little bit for me as well. Um, yeah, good pick. My number eight, I'm just going to be crossing over with Pepper here, and that's 28 years later. And yeah, this is one where I enjoy the first films in this one a decent amount, and yeah, coming back to that, I'm. It's an interesting thought. I don't know how many zombie movies go that far into the future necessarily, where you're almost 30 years later. I mean, that's a whole, what, generation or two later of people. So it's interesting to think how it will actually work, if it will make sense. Um, I don't know. That's the only thing where I'm like, well, you could do some unique things with that, maybe. I don't know what. I haven't thought of it personally, but I'm assuming you could do unique things like, oh well, if it's generations later, how are they actually still like being a threat, or is there like some new thing that isn't just like a new version of it and make it weird? But yeah, excited for this one. Hoping it'll be good, and yeah, hopefully Aaron Taylor Johnson will get to shine.
Yes, he needs to. He's great. Or maybe he just got lucky. We don't know. My number eight is there's a couple on here that I'm like, there's a very good chance of being terrible. And this is a comedy movie sequel, like 20, what was that? I think it was in like 98 or something it was made. It is Happy Gilmore 2. I think this one's going to be right near the end of the year as well, like maybe December. So who knows if I think it'll probably come out. It's already pictures of them filming in different locations listed. So hoping this one will come out. And yeah, I don't know. Adam Sandler, current Adam Sandler, which he's made some good like drama films people have talked about, and the one with
Un-
mystery, whatever, with
oh, Murder Mystery
murder
with Jennifer
mystery.
Aniston.
Yeah, I like that first one. I haven't seen the second one, and I think one of the directors, if it was that one or one of his more recent ones that I did like, is working on this one. So um, at least that's a good sign. But there's no way that you capture the magic of the original Happy Gilmore. I mean, if you try to do it with new people, it's just going to feel like, well, that's not as good as the first one. If you try to bring back all the old people, which most of them are dead at this point, all my favorite characters, which is just so sad. But then I'm like, even the ones you do bring back, are they really going to still have it? Or is it just going to feel like, yeah, kind of sad and it's kind of funny, but it's just not like it used to be.
Mhm.
Everything is working against this film, but
It really is.
I love the first one so much. I love the inclusion of golf, which usually isn't the mainstream sport to make a movie about. I love the characters, so still excited about this one, but this could be maybe not even a huge letdown because I wouldn't be shocked if it's terrible. I wouldn't be shocked if I'm like, oh, why did they make this? This is bringing Shawn Michaels out of retirement for that tag team match. This is just as bad. What are we doing here? So
Right.
who knows?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm glad you included this one. I had in my mind written it down that I wanted to include this one and then totally forgot when making my list. So yeah, this one probably would have made it for me. I watched this one like 100 or the first one 100 times growing up. So it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. And yeah, I know it will not live up, but you can always hope that
Just
it can
imagine.
recapture at least some of it. It can recapture some of it.
Yeah, get a little bit of rehash, bring some old jokes back, and something new, hopefully. Imagine a world where this one does top the first one. My goodness, what a treat that would be. What a
It
shock.
would be a treat. That would be a treat. It is a good pick. Um, and yeah, it's probably lucky that I didn't put it on my list because I'm crossing over with Pepper again here, just back to back. He was the one that put this list together, so I'm guessing he just put his before mine so he could explain the movies for me. But this is Jurassic World Rebirth, and I have some of the same concerns you do, but yeah, it's a Jurassic movie. Have to put it on the list because can always hope that it's going to be one of the top of the year, and yeah, should have some good tense action scenes, I would hope. And yeah, I my expectations are definitely not as high after what they tried to do with the last one, bringing all the main characters back or bringing them all together, and that just not capturing it. I'm like, if they can't capture it with that, I just don't know. I don't have that much faith in the future ones, but can always hope that this rebirth will work.
Yes, a true rebirth. We need it. We need it for this franchise, but feels almost maybe a little too soon to be making another
I would
one.
agree. I would agree. I actually, when I was looking through the movies, I was like Jurassic World, and I assumed this was like some like animated thing or something
Oh, yeah.
versus actually being a movie, and then I'm like, oh, I I did not realize they were already going to do another movie in this. Yeah, it seemed pretty soon after, but
Yeah. It's
still excited.
crazy how some take forever and some are just like, boom, every 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Well, that was probably a while ago that when we saw that. So it's probably a good 5 years, actually. Um,
It's true. It's probably longer than it seems.
we're old. We're old. My
Was
number
that
seven.
pre-COVID?
That was that was
That
dirt.
couldn't have been.
Uh,
Was it that long ago?
okay, let's see. Jurassic. I'll quickly look it up. Jurassic World Dominion was released. Saw it in theater. When was that? 2022. Okay,
Okay.
not too long ago, but still like
Yeah,
three
okay.
years.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, my number seven is another one. There's so many question marks. This is a superhero movie. Superhero movies, especially Marvel movies, are a big question mark nowadays. And this one probably has the least like established characters, and that is Thunderbolt. This one I thought would be a little higher on my list, but just as I compared it, I'm like, do you go establish characters that they might messed up or this one? So I went with this one for Marvel, and I like these characters. These are some of the standouts for me, especially Black Widow, a film that I know you are not a big fan of. I really liked her sister and father in that one being the by far standouts of that film, and getting to see more of them paired with Bucky, getting the long hair Bucky back, the best version of Bucky. So I'm hoping he can be a little more interesting again because he's not been that interesting lately. And then you get the kind of failed Captain America from Captain America or Falcon Winter Soldier, which I thought was probably the most interesting character from that show, which I did not like that show at all. But I like that we pick him, take him out, put him here, and maybe make him into an actual hero or anti-hero of some sort. And you got Taskmaster and I think the girl from Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is also a movie I did not like. So a lot of characters from movies that maybe aren't that great. They are interesting. I hope this one works. I hope this is another Guardians of the Galaxy where the chemistry is just there, the vibe is perfect, and maybe a great soundtrack to go with it. But
That does help.
it could also just be terrible. I don't know.
That is fair. That is true.
Hoping for the former.
Right. I would agree. Um, yeah, my number six is also a group of superheroes. I believe it's also Marvel,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. Think.
Although it's only
Yeah.
four superheroes, and that is Fantastic Four, which I did not realize this was already coming out either.
Yeah,
Like somebody, I don't know. It's just weird to me because I think I'm just so used to all these like delayed projects and stuff, and then it's like, oh yeah, these things are all coming like way in the future, and now it's the future. So I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know if it was always like planned for like these dates or if they got a. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm hopeful for this one. I don't know. I've never liked what's his name? The guy that's going to be the main. You know
Pedro
all the actors.
Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. I've nenever been a fan of his acting. I don't know. It. I just feel like they haven't cast him in the right role for me. It just doesn't work for me. Because I think most of the time I've seen him just be the good guy, and
Yeah.
I think he's just got a total bad guy look to him for me. And now he's going to be the good guy again, probably. I don't know. I don't know much about the Fantastic Four. Maybe that guy's kind of a jackwagon, but and if that's the case, then they picked the perfect guy to play him. But if he's not, if he's just this nice, really great guy, I'd be like, nope, they miscast him again. They did it again. But he'll probably be good, I'm sure. I'm hoping this will be the one that I like of his.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't I should have put this on my list, but it did not make my list. It's probably the most exciting because yeah, probably the biggest named actors there that I like. I like Pedro and things, and you've got Eddie from Stranger Things in this one as well as I think it was Shaw's sister, Vanessa Kirby from Hobbs and Shaw. Thought she was pretty good there. So I'm like, I like some of the cast. I don't know if they work together. And I do wish we did have John Krasinski as I think that's who Pedro's playing, is what
I
people
think so.
wanted him to play, and then he played in uh, Madness movie, and it just feels a little weird to not have him because I like him in everything he's in. I think he would have been a perfect fit, but we can go with the 60-year-old man if we want to.
That's true. And I suppose if they really want to, I mean, the way they're doing things now, if this totally flops or no one likes the performances, no one likes who they picked, they could just do a whole new team from a different universe.
That's true. They are using all the crutches that the multiverse provides.
All the tricks in the book, the oldest tricks.
Oh boy. And then we have another Marvel movie. I think we have pretty much every Marvel movie coming out this year, and this one is also one that could be
Did we only
out.
get one last year?
I think we only got Deadpool last year. I think that was the only one, and I don't know if any of these, all of these combined, I don't think are going to equal Deadpool to me, but maybe, just maybe, Captain America: Brave New World can be decent. That's all I'm hoping for.
This
Um,
this is the one I was talking about when I was talking about Craven. This feels
yeah.
like the Craven here. I was excited about this initially, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but I feel like this one's been pushed back a few times and
I
talking
think,
about rewrites, reshoots, and stuff. And I'm just like, this is gonna end up being Craven, and
yeah.
it's got character or actors and characters that I care about less. Bit of a fanboy of old Craven, so I'm like, I just don't. It's gonna make it even harder for me to enjoy it if it is not as good.
Yeah, I think putting the name of Captain America on here is could be a huge curse for this movie because that is maybe the most consistent franchise in the MCU. And Falcon and Winter Soldier, like I said, I did not like that one at all. But I did love Falcon previously. So if you have him here as Captain America in this new movie, could be kind of a reset. And I think this is their chance to make me like that character in this new role. And I hope I do. Hulk, I never liked Hulk, so this is probably the most interested I've been in a Hulk, which is crazy, but yeah, plagued with like reshoots and rewrites. I think this front character, this kind of villain, Giancarlo Esposito playing him, which is maybe the best name in Hollywood. I like him in things, but I think he was like added, like in post production and reshoots. Like if you're reworking your movie like that, it's not a great. It doesn't inspire confidence. But
That's true.
I think
You know,
with Falcon and Winter Soldier, all the chaos, my expectations were so lowered that lately my thoughts on this movie have just turned to let's see what it's got. I mean, my I think it could be probably absolutely terrible, but the trailer looked pretty good. Looked pretty gritty like those earlier Captain America films. So maybe let's just see. Let's see what do they have to offer. Maybe it'll be good, but probably not.
yeah, I'm hopeful, but yeah, I have very low expectations as well because yeah, I did not like Falcon Winter Soldier either. My number five, I think, is coming out somewhat soon. I could be wrong. I think that I just recently, the last time I went to a movie, saw this one as a trailer, and that is Novocaine. So yeah, this one's kind of an action movie where this guy has some condition where he can't feel pain. So I just feel like that's a cool thing. And in the trailer, it's got him doing all these like really crazy things that would be insanely painful. And it just immediately made me think, and I think they say it in the trailer as well, but I'm like, just because you can't feel pain, if you're just a normal human, doesn't mean that you wouldn't die from some of these things. So you can only take it so far without it being like too much. But I like the idea. You're probably gonna have to suspend disbelief a little bit, just because yeah, it's probably going to be a little over the top, but I think that's what would potentially make it good. This one could also just be a popcorn. It's going to be a popcorn movie, I think. I'm just hoping that it has enough fun stuff, enough fun, uh, maybe kill scenes that it'll work out.
Yeah, I think yeah, if the actor here, Jack Quaid, I don't know much about him, but if this character is good and the movie's fun, I could see this being a franchise easily.
Mhm.
That concept is, um, who knows how long it takes. They could milk 5 movies out of that, I'm sure.
That's true. That could they definitely could.
And then my number 5 is one of the few non-franchise movies here, at least that I know of. And yeah, this one I just saw a trailer, and it's not really what I initially would gravitate towards, but I was just really drawn in by the style of Sinners. Michael B. Jordan, which I like quite a bit in Black Panther and Creed, from the director, the guy who made Black Panther and Creed. I don't. Black Panther's all right. I like it enough, but the Creed films were some of my top films last year. I binged the Rocky ones, and I thought a lot of the Rocky ones are great. And then Creed 1, 2, and 3 just all topped those. So I love those. I love their style. Really like Michael B. Jordan in movies. He's becoming one of my go-tos to get excited about when I see him in a new movie. And this trailer just looks very mysterious. It's kind of old-timey. I think he's playing 2 characters, like brothers or something. And
Hmm.
there's some sort of darkness and evil, and there's rumors as to what it is. And
Hmm.
that gets me excited as to how they could do that and present that. So this one got me excited for being a movie that means nothing to me. No franchise, nothing like that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's my number four, so it's going to be the next one up here. Uh, yeah, I agree with everything you said. Something about the trailer that just pulled me in, even though I have really no reason to be that pulled into it. And I feel like, yeah, depending on what they do with that, with the rumors, if that is true, it could really work. But it could also totally backfire. I don't know. That's my little bit of hesitation worry, but yeah, I've liked Michael B. Jordan and all of his stuff too. I think this it felt like a perfect casting. So if it is that kind of feel that I'm getting from it, if that actually pulls through the full film, I think this one could be one of those sleeper hits next year.
For sure. Oh boy, back to me. Oh my goodness. We gotta go to bound a crossover so far.
We do.
Even on this one, which I would have never thought would be crossover, just a random movie
I
scene.
didn't think it'd cross over with you.
So
You looked at my list and you
I
went and
did.
you're like, "What is this movie?" And
Now
then you
it's
saw it and you're like, "Okay, I gotta take it. I gotta take it. And I gotta say it before him again."
Steel is Thunder. Uh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if you get to talk about any movies on your own. My number four is back to franchises. It's the spin-off of one of the best action franchises. Maybe not for their story, but for their action. And that is a Ballerina from the world of John Wick. Which apparently John Wick is not just a little cameo in this one. Apparently he does have quite a bit, which I think is inspiring a little more confidence. But also, is it relying too much on what came before? I don't know, but I love the John Wick movies, mainly number four. That's the only one that I ever feel that I have to watch, apart from the one little speech when he's tied up in the first one. That part's pretty great, but for action, number four gives me everything I want. I feel they perfected the formula in that one, and to spin off with a character that I don't think we've ever seen. There were a few characters in number four I thought could get spin-offs that I'd be excited for. So once I heard it was kind of a new character, I was a little less excited, but the trailer looked good. It looked like a lot of fun action. Apparently, Ana de Armas does some of her own stunts, so we get a little bit of that. Hopefully, some of that same style of action because Keanu really went in and did a lot of his own stuff in the franchise so far. So I hope it's still got the magic, but I assume it's going to feel a little more generic, not quite as into the style and real feeling of the John Wick movies previously, but it should be solid.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Uh, my number three, you have not mentioned yet. I don't know if you will mention. You might. I don't. I can't think of what your other ones will be, but it is F1. And yeah, I got pretty excited. I didn't know anything about this. This was one that I found when I was kind of searching through movies that were releasing in 2025, and I believe it's from people that brought us Top Gun Maverick, which was a surprise for me that year. I never had previously watched Top Gun, but yeah, I went to the movie theater in that one because I think Kayla and I went to Applebee's or something, and they gave like tickets if you had spent so much. So we just went to it, and it was like my favorite or my second favorite movie of the whole year. And I was just like, wow, I just felt like I was there with them. And then
Yeah.
knowing that it's the same thing kind of here potentially with race car or I don't know. I'm gonna offend people that know more about. I don't know anything about like the F1 or what that is, but racing, I'm assuming. And if you're actually feeling like you're there, kind of like you did with the Jets and stuff, I think that'll be really awesome. Because I really enjoyed which one? I think it was called Rush or something. Is that when Chris
Oh,
Hemsworth and stuff? I thought that one was really good, and that was a racing movie. Even though I don't really, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of racing or any of that.
yeah.
I I think this one, if it kind of meets up to kind of both those two movies standards or better, it could be really good. And it's got Brad Pitt, so uh, he'll be good looking doing it, doing his acting.
Will Brad Pitt in a race car be as good as Brad Pitt on a bullet train? That is the big question.
That's his big question. His biggest role since Bullet Train.
Yeah, that one looks good, and I'm excited for it. I did not make my list.
Oh my gosh,
Not as into racing as you, and I had to let you talk about
not,
one movie.
not as into racing. I already said I'm not even that into racing, but I thought they said he was doing some of his own, some of it.
Yeah, pretty
I
cool.
don't know. I don't know what that really means. If that means some of maybe the easier stuff. 'Cause I'm assuming they don't just let and
Yeah.
I mean I
Oh,
would think it would take some training to do that, but I guess who knows?
true. Much more excited about F11, Fast and Furious 11, whenever that's gonna be coming out. Not this year, probably not in the next five. Dang.
Dang it.
My number three is another one. And this is the last one that is not a franchise movie. It is a war movie from the director mentioned earlier, Alex Garland, and that is Warfare, the guy who did Civil War and I guess is working on 28 Years Later as well. So he's got a couple movies this year. This is one that has me excited just because of that. From the guy who brought you Civil War, and it's all about war. Some guy based on his memory of his time in Iraq and as a Navy SEAL, and directed by the guy who did Civil War, which I thought the actual kind of warfare action and tanks and shooting and all stuff in that was really well done and very intense. And I've seen a little bit of a trailer for this one, and it looks just that same way. So I'm really excited for this one. This one comes out pretty soon, I think, in the first few months of the year. So it's definitely, along with Sinners, kind of one of the more came out of nowhere type of movies for me. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know that I even looked at that one, but that sounds interesting. So hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it also has the guy from Fantastic Four, Stranger Things, Eddie, is also in this one. So lots of crossover actors, directors doing all kinds of things on this list.
How do you know it won't be his memories of what happened to him in Stranger Things?
That's true. It might be. Oh boy, that'd be scary.
That could be pretty scary. Uh, but my number two could be scary as well. And it's a crossover with Pepper, of course. He's already mentioned this one, and that is Thunderbolts. I probably like these characters a lot less than Pepper, but hoping that this will be Guardians of the Galaxy style film. I just hope that it somehow you put them together and it just works. Um, it might be one or two characters too many to work that well, I think, but hopefully they can pull it together and just surprise me because, yeah, I think it helps that my expectations for this are probably pretty low. I would say, yeah, the probably Bucky and then, yeah, the guy that was in the Captain America one there. I don't remember what his name technically is, but those two are probably the only characters in here that I really care about. So, uh, the other ones, meh.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that after this one, I'll be like, okay, now I like these characters more. But maybe we won't get that. I don't know. And I'm also not sure. Is it going to for sure be heroes? Are they going to be heroes for sure? The other thing I was thinking was is if we can get the Suicide Squad
Oh, yeah.
kind of movie, but
Yeah, I think they're
that one was a little wacky. I don't know that this will be wacky in
Yeah, I
those
was
ways.
thinking that too. I think they are kind of anti-heroes. Maybe I've heard it called the Suicide Squad of Marvel. So they could be not your typical heroes, good guys. So I think that would be pretty good for the movie. I don't think they're gonna go for an R rating like the Suicide Squad did, but if they did and it kind of captured that more than Guardians, I would be happy because I think I much prefer the Suicide Squad over Guardians of the Galaxy. There is a hot take right there. Guardians
Wow.
overrated. Uh,
Wow. I don't know if I agree with that quite, but I did really like the Suicide Squad.
yes, it's crazy we have to make that distinction between Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad, but it's a big difference. Uh, so yeah,
Significant.
I'm looking forward to this one too, and yeah, hope it's not a scary pick. Hopefully, it's not terrible and everything we fear. My number two is not too much known about this one, except a little premise. There is no poster for it, so I had to take one from previous in the franchise, one of my favorites. Even as a kid, I loved watching Arnold Schwarzenegger battle the Predator. And this next one is Predator Badlands, I think is the current title of it. I had to take a poster from Prey, the previous in the franchise, which I thought was a really good kind of back to basics, put it in a new setting, this Predator, and just a really solid film. And I think the director or some person in charge of making it, director, producer, whatever, is going to be the same as Prey. So that has me very happy about this. And I think this, along with the Alien franchise, are kind of rebooting in a way with a couple pretty basic standalone films. I'm looking forward to those meeting up maybe sometime in the future in a way that isn't so silly that it used to be. But yeah, this one is, I guess, yeah, just the description. In the future, a predator traverses on an alien wasteland while two sisters discover their horrifying past. I don't know how those tie together. Is this alien wasteland Earth? So it's alien to the predator? I don't know. But putting a focus on the predator, I like that idea. Maybe if it can make it a main character, kind of like Godzilla vs. Kong kind of made Kong kind of the main character, giving him ways to communicate and really express and be a character. I like if they do something similar here with the Predator.
Yeah, I could see that just talking about Earth, where that is the alien wasteland. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's become a thing here with a few other movies for some reason as well, where now we're getting from the angle of
Oh,
what was it? There was that one. It's not actually Jason, but that one where
oh,
you're
yeah.
supposedly
The
like
one,
following the view of him
was it In a
tracking you through.
Violent Nature or something?
Yeah, something like that. I feel like there was another movie or two that kind of had a premise of, oh, you're going to be the other person. You're going to see from their point of view. It's weird that that's kind of all becoming a thing at once. I wonder if
Yeah.
that's going to like quickly feel like overused. I don't know, but I think it could be cool uh, in this setting, especially.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes in the original, you got to see like some shots from like his
Yeah.
vantage point, right? So, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how a full movie, or at least probably more of a movie, follows that versus just kind of some single shots here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
My number one has also been mentioned by Pepper. Uh, this one is in a franchise as well, or and that's Ballerina. I'm hoping that this one will capture that same magic as the John Wick movies have. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know how big I want it to feel though. Like the last one was, I mean, they kind of kept with all the movies, kind of just kept kind of expanding the universe more and more. And I don't know if we are going to have like this new main character sort of. Uh, I don't know that I want it to start at that level and like feel like it has to continue expanding
Yeah.
or how that will work. I guess I don't. I didn't read much about this one or anything, so I don't know. But like you said, I feel like I've heard that John Wick is in the movie and a decent amount, so I don't know what that means either. I don't know the timing of this when this happens in comparison to the other movies. But yeah, I'm hopeful that this one will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think the timing, I think it's between the third and the fourth John Wick is what I've heard so far. So not too like ancient or flashback, anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And yeah, that is kind of a question. Are they going to go kind of continue right where they left off with the scale, or is it going to be a little more, let's get to know this character in smaller scale? So we'll see. My number one, do you have any clue what this is? This is,
I think I had a guess in my head at one point, but no, I
this
can't think of it.
is I love Marvel and it has some of my favorite movies of all time, but I would say this is my favorite movie franchise of all time. Definitely recently, they just banger after banger after banger. This main actor, the last true movie star,
Oh, I know what it is.
Tom Cruise, putting his life on the line. Every single entry in this franchise, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. I love these films. This is going to be the eighth one, and I think the second one is the only one that I would say is not great. And especially these last three or four have just been amazing. Every single one has a new iconic sequence. There he's climbing a building, hanging off a plane, jumping off a cliff with a motorcycle. It's just crazy stuff. And to know that he's actually doing these things on some level, yes, there are straps to keep him safe. Sometimes, I mean, he actually did just jump off that cliff and hope his parachute worked. So, I mean, sometimes there's not really a safety net, but of course there's going to be a safety net most of the time. But just the fact that he's doing these things does add to it. And you go there and you know you're getting something that was cared about. It's not just a simple cash grab. Let's CG this and pump another one out. Like Tom Cruise, he may be a crazy man in real life, but I think he does try his hardest to deliver the best movie that he possibly can. And I appreciate that when there's a lot of seemingly low effort releases nowadays.
Yeah, that's probably true. I feel like I've watched some of the Mission Impossible movies, but this is just one that I haven't gotten into. I probably should go watch them and actually see if it's as good as you say, but I'm almost confident that this will pop up like the movie Wicked did recently, and then say part one, and in the theaters it'll go Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the beginning.
Well, actually, the previous entry was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And that this was supposed to be Part 2, and they just changed the name, so that's forever Part 1 for a weird reason, gonna be. And now this is just the final reckoning. So no Part 2. Maybe,
Well, it won't be a
maybe
part two, but it'll be the beginning.
it will be the beginning.
Yeah, this definitely, I mean, as long as he wants to continue making movies, I'm assuming he's going to continue making Mission Impossible movies,
Yes,
as
he's
much as that sounds like it's the
60.
final.
60 years old. Him and Keanu Reeves are probably the two most like physically active that you hear about doing their stunts, and they're over 60 apiece.
I, I, looking back now, I don't know if it's a good thing, but like you said, the last kind of megastar, uh, and yeah, when he at the beginning of Top Gun Maverick, where he did his little spiel about the movie and stuff and how much they cared about it. I really loved that at the time, but now it has caused all these wannabe Tom Cruises to do that at the beginning of like all these movies. And I'm just like, it just feels so cheap. It feels like they're just playing off of that. And I'm sure they probably do care about the projects that they're working on and stuff just as much. But that was kind of, I felt like it should have been like a one off thing that was his thing instead of now it seems like it's in front of all these movies. And it's like, really?
You're gonna
Especially
be
after you watch the movie, you're like,
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they did
maybe.
it for Smile 2, which was really confusing to start. Ended up being a really great movie, which I was like,
Yeah,
okay, you can do it, but yeah, just
yeah,
you hang off an airplane upside down, and then you can do that in your movie. Otherwise, just Tom.
exactly. Uh, but yeah, those are our movies we're looking forward to coming out in 2025, hopefully. But let us know in the comments below which ones you are excited about or which ones you've maybe already seen. Uh, we'd love to hear it. We want to go to the best of the best movies of 2025. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on that popcorn.